There was a recent video from another YouTube channel called Accepting the Universe with the same sentence that is the title of this video. Why do you postpone yourself? And it was a question that I've never heard asked that way and felt very relevant for me in a lot of ways. And I think a lot of people, because that video actually did really, really well, a lot of people resonated with it, which made me not feel as alone with it and really got me thinking about why it is that a lot of us postpone ourselves. And I want to just explain how I'm looking at that, mostly through a creative lens and trying to get to the core of why so many creative people, artistic people that have the ability to inspire and change the world postpone themselves because of reasons such as the fear of what people will think. What if this thing fails? Am I any good at this? And I think those are kind of the biggest things that hold creative people back. Definitely holds me back a lot of the times. And yet there's these moments where I break through it and I start to do the thing. Right now, this is an example where doing the thing is making videos. I love talking on camera and sharing my thoughts, and it really kind of helps me process the things I'm thinking about. And yet I don't do it enough because I get worried. Like, what if this is silly? What if someone doesn't care about this and all of this? And I think that the reason so many of us put off what could be possible in our lives is because we value the wrong metrics of success. This has been a very, very big turning point for me. Still kind of working through it, still trying to accept it, break the old mindset of metrics of success. But as an example, for many, many years, when it came to creating videos and content, my metric of success was, well, how many views does it get? How many subscribers? Like, what's the interaction? All these things that are obviously, you would think that that matters to someone that's creating. Whereas recently I was like, well, what if the metric of success is that I filmed a video and I uploaded it? Because that's in my control. There are things that I can do to try and get more views and more subscribers. This video is kind of an example of that. This title was popular for someone else, and I want to give my own, twist on it. But I'm hopeful that some people might find it, and if so, great. But if no one listens to this, then I'm talking to myself right now. But the biggest thing is that my metric of success is that I ended up filming a video and recording it. And because of that, now I feel so much happier with myself because it's focused on something I can control, recording a video, versus something I can't control is how many views and subscribers it gets. And I think that that metric of success, the amount of engagement and audience building and all that, will be a byproduct of me focusing on doing the work and focusing on being happy that I filmed something and I made something, I created something. Because if you get stuck up in the numbers, you're going to quit super fast. And that's been the case for me. It's been the case for a lot of people that I'm like, you make incredible stuff, from musicians to painters to streamers on Twitch, things like that, all different types of creative, hobbies and activities. They stop because the stuff's not getting the engagement that they want. And I just wish that instead of focusing on that, they were just focused on like, I'm showing up and I'm sharing my stuff, because maybe your stuff only gets 50 views. But what if one of those 50 people see the thing that you did, the message you shared, the thing you created, and it changes their life and it inspires them to go out and do something that they've been waiting to do, that they've been postponing for, because they're seeing you take action. I've seen this a lot when I think about the moments where I do start to create things. Like right now, I saw another friend start to film daily videos without doing really any editing at all. And it was like, okay, well, if they're doing it, I need to get back into it because I enjoyed this when I did it. And then I got in my head and started to delay anything. And now, I mean, I could have put out, if I posted it every day since the last time I put up a video on this channel, we've been over 100 different videos, but I delayed myself. I said tomorrow over and over and over again. And I'm sure that you can relate to that if you're clicking on this video. And I think that what's coming to the surface for me is that when we postpone ourselves, we postpone the chance to help somebody else and bring value to them, because all of the different creators and artists and stuff that I see that inspire me, it makes me want to go out and do things. And that's the effect that you can have on people, whether your stuff's getting 10 views or 1,000 views or 100,000. And I think what's truly the most disappointing is that we do that to ourselves, that we have this ability to put out such great stuff. And honestly, great stuff is also a metric of success that is more subjective, and I think people get themselves wrapped up too much in that. I would rather see you just create anything. Like anytime that I create something, whether I personally love it or it's like not the best thing, I'm better because of it. I get smarter at my craft. I get better. I have better ideas from it. And that's the mode that I'm like trying to be in right now, is regardless of these videos of how they do, it's making me feel better in the way that I'm speaking on camera, which I know one day will help me do things like speak on a stage or, present myself better on podcast or whatever it might be. I know that like I'm preparing myself for these things in ways that aren't even obvious right now. But I'm not focusing on the metric of success of like these videos are going to do amazing, right? Like I'm just focused on showing up and creating and getting better at setting up my gear and talking to you and having new ideas and all of these things, that those are in my control. Like I am able to choose all of those things and to learn from all of those things. And when I can really like lean into that mindset, everything becomes so much more enjoyable and less stressful. And when things get stressful, I typically kind of end up putting stuff off, and then I get burnt out, and I delay stuff, and then I get mad at myself, and it becomes this cycle that as a creative person is the worst. And I'm sure I'm not alone in that cycle. I've spoken to many people recently that are stuck in that, and that's why this sentence has stuck with me since I saw the original video, because it's a phrase that I relate to. Why do you postpone yourself? That I've never put it into that context, but I've thought about it multiple times in my life. And I do think what's also true is I think there's also a little bit of like give yourself grace. I often like to believe that we are where we're supposed to be, but I think that there's also seasons where it's like, okay, but you can only delay yourself enough, and now it's time to take some action. And I'm finding myself in that season right now, and I hope if you're watching this can put you into that season. Like I want to see more people create things. The world will never be a worse place because people created things. It can only get better, which is pretty cool, because there's never been an easier time to start creating things, whatever it is. No matter what it is, there's an audience for it. Whether you want to create new Pokemon cards, or you want to sell skateboards, or you want to make videos about cats, whatever it is, there's an audience for it. People want that because it's going to make them happy. It's going to bring them joy. It's going to inspire them. And when we postpone ourselves, we're robbing the world of that. And so that's what I believe about kind of that whole sentence as a whole. It's just what I've been thinking about and trying to catch myself. Like I'm trying to catch myself now whenever I start to fall into kind of the mindset of things where like I might have ideas, things I want to do, but I pushed off for months. I'm thinking about this phrase, and it's been really helpful. Like that's kind of why I'm able to sit here and make this video, because I was like, okay, I'm catching myself and I don't want to fall into that phase again. Like it's time to make stuff, and I don't know what will happen, but I'm happy that I'm able to just show up and make stuff, and maybe nothing will happen, but I will still be grateful to have these videos to look back on later on in my life. So that perspective has changed the way that I'm approaching creating things. And so I'm really curious if you've seen this question, if you've thought about this, how it felt for you. And I would love to hear your responses down below. So thank you so much for being here and watching, and I'll see you again very soon.